Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Teacher Joseph podcast on the 24th of March 2025. Today, we're going to read through a news story from The Independent, which is headlined Landlines to be phased out as elderly face digital switch. Now, just to give you some background to this and an explanation of some of the words, the landline, of course, you'll know, is the telephone that we used to use, many people still have them, plugged into the wall at home. Many people here still have them. They're connected to our broadband, our internet system. However, more and more people are saying they don't want them. The government has announced that it intends to switch them off. And here it is indeed affirming that. It's saying landlines to be phased out. That means completely abolished. If you phase something out, you remove it from your life or from society. Some people think that books will be phased out, printed books in the future. So it says here landlines to be phased out as elderly, that's our older people, face digital switch. So it means that older people will be forced to use mobiles. And the story opens with a picture of an old lady who looks, strange and maybe a little bit crazy, while she's holding a telephone, a landline. So this story is by Holly Evans, not Holly Evans, there's two L's, so it's Holly Evans. Let's read. Vulnerable pensioners and disabled people fear they could be left at risk as the UK phases out the landlines they rely on. Telecom companies BT, that's British Telecom, Sky and Virgin, are in the process of switching their customers over to a new digital internet-based system. For people like Heather, who has severe osteoarthritis, her landline is a lifeline if she were to become stuck in the lift that helps her move around her Suffolk home. Now, it's saying here that her landline is a lifeline if she gets stuck in the elevator which she has inside her house. So we're not talking about elevators in the main apartment building. She's saying that she owns a house and she has an elevator in it because she doesn't do stairs. And she says, I live on my own and I'm very concerned about all of this, she told The Independent. If I get stuck in the lift or if I become ill for any reason, I need my landline to be able to contact people for help. The 71-year-old has struggled with pain in her legs for years and had a knee replacement in 2015, but continues to suffer with discomfort as a result of her condition. Her house was designed to accommodate her needs in 2018. As she is unable to climb stairs easily, not only does her landline connect her to the outside world, she also uses it as a safety precaution. And Heather tells us, on a few occasions her lift has broken down and she once became trapped inside. Thankfully, builders working on her property were able to free her, but without someone on hand to help, her landline would be her only way to raise the alarm. So Heather goes on to tell us the government should be holding fire on this. As a society, we're not ready, she said. To hold fire, of course, is to hold back shooting the gun, to stop going ahead. She says, I'm reasonably okay on IT, and I have an iPhone, but I don't carry it around. And in a lot of places near me, there is very little signal. I have friends who are still not aware that the landline is going to go in a couple of years. There are hundreds and thousands of people with no IT experience who depend on their landlines. Oh, very interesting story. So Heather's telling us that she really isn't ready to be moving on to carrying her mobile. I like the fact that she does have an iPhone, even though that she prefers a landline. She actually has an iPhone, so maybe she should just carry that. The story continues. The majority of UK customers are expected to switch over to digital by the end of January 2027, as the analog landline network is becoming increasingly difficult to maintain and repair. Rather than using copper wires, phone services will rely on broadband. However, that has raised concerns among the older generation and those who rely on personal alarms, which are synced to their landlines. Well, I don't know, but I'm guessing, though, they'll be installing emergency buttons in lifts which are not analog. I mean, I would guess that she could have a new push button that'll connect her to some digital sensor, no? Maybe I'm wrong, but I would have thought that's what they'll do. They won't leave her in the cold, as we say. They will actually replace her existing landline system with a digital one, no? Is that not what they would be doing? And then it says here, one of the biggest challenges facing telecom companies is that not everyone in the UK has access to high-speed internet, while also ensuring that the new system will continue to operate during power cuts. Yeah, actually, some places in the UK didn't have electricity until 1991. Hard to believe, but that is actually true, particularly on the islands and the rural parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. In 2023, telecom companies temporarily halted non-voluntary switchovers after several personal alarms failed. So it does look like they're checking all these things, doesn't it? In January, Openreach announced another 163 locations across the UK where copper-based cable networks will cease to work, affecting around 960,000 people. Yeah, campaigner Dennis Reid and his organisation Silver Voices, which advocates for older people, said he was very concerned about the rollout and describes the government's decision to push ahead with the plans as reckless. He said, it's not just people with personal alarms, it's all the other people in their 70s, 80s and 90s who are at risk of having a stroke or a heart attack. They need more help than others, he said. When they can assure me that it is perfectly safe, I'll be happy. A Department of the Government spokesperson said, migrating unreliable landlines to a digital system is vital because the aging network is increasingly unsafe and putting vulnerable people at risk. So far, over half of landlines have been upgraded to the new system. While this switchover is industry-led, providers have agreed to government demands for a strict checklist of safeguards before migrating vulnerable users. These include multiple communications to those affected, an engineer visit, minimum battery backup requirements, and proactively identifying telecare users. Anyone who has a personal alarm should contact their phone company during the upgrade. Well, that should reassure Heather, shouldn't it? I think part of the problem of getting older sometimes is we lose our confidence because, well, with digital things, I don't really trust them as much as I should. I was looking at my mobile phone the other day and I was thinking, what would happen if we had that magnetic storm they've been forecasting for years, which is going to wipe out data everywhere? It would leave us kind of in a useless state, but, well, I'm sure younger people aren't so concerned about that. I'm not even sure if this idea of the magnetic storm is a real one. There's many things to be considered, and Heather's case is one of them. For those of you who know me, you'll also know that I'm terrified of elevators. I don't like them. I think they're nasty, evil things, and you won't ever find me in one, unless they're glass, in which case I'll happily get stuck in them and wave at people. But I don't like enclosed spaces. So an enclosed space where the emergency button and the telephone isn't working and I don't have a mobile signal, these would be things that I would be very, very concerned about. And even now, as I speak about it, I can feel a certain sense of anxiety rising. So let's quickly change the subject. That's the story for today. All about the switch off of telephones, landlines here in the UK. Just to finish, just to tell you something about the word landline, I'm remembering a song. If you're Italian or if you're European, you might recognize it. It was by Umberto Tozzi and it was called Gloria. It was a rather peaceful song. However, when they did the English version, which was by Laura Branigan, they turned the song into a woman who was having some kind of breakdown, and she was very insecure, leading the high life. And the singer warns us, Gloria, you're heading for a breakdown, always calling on the landline. Isn't it strange how songs can be really changed when they're translated? We did the same with lots of songs over the years. They're perfectly innocent in their own language, and by the time we get to hear them in English, they've been twisted into rather depressing songs about death, suicide, or in the case of Gloria, some kind of addiction and abuse, a woman running away from responsibility. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this, and let's catch up again soon. See you. Bye.